The courses that I teach here at Metro Community College are in the respiratory therapy program only. And I teach in the classroom, in the laboratory setting, and then I have students out in the clinical environment with me. It's a nice transition for the students to be able to learn in the classroom and then go practice on one another in the lab, and then we can see them put all that into action in the lab, in the clinical environment, on patients, on real patients that we are assigned in the hospital setting. The hospitals that we have our students at in the Omaha area are varied. We have students in Children's Hospital, in pediatric and neonatal intensive care units there. We have students at just about all of the acute care hospitals. We have some students that rotate through a subacute setting, which is more of a long-term sort of a setting for patients. And so it's a variety of patients that the students have the ability to practice their skills on. And the nice thing about the student interaction with patients in the hospital is that they touch just about every type of patient, whether the patient's coming in for a simple procedure or they come in with a true pulmonary ailment. We see, again, a variety of patients. It's nice for the students to be able to go out and see other therapists in action at the hospital so that they can know, gee, when I graduate, I have this opportunity to work at this facility. I have an opportunity to work with this specific type of patient. So again, the variety of patients and the variety of scenarios that our students have at their disposal when they do go out to clinical it's a tremendous asset that our program offers the student. The path that I've taken to get to where I'm at today started, I guess, back upon graduation from high school, when just like most every other high school student, I didn't have a clue about what I wanted to do. So went to a local technical community college in Columbus, Nebraska, got my associate's degree, and then after that, what do you do with it? And so I moved to the big city of Omaha, Nebraska, where my brother, who was at that time attending another respiratory therapy program, advised me on the different allied healthcare professions. So I took a day off from sacking groceries at a local Safeway grocery store to shadow a couple of different allied healthcare professions. And one of them was a pharmacist, another a physical therapist, and then another was my brother, as he worked as a respiratory therapist. And really liked what he did, really thought it was a neat blend of technical care, hands-on patient care, and it was exciting. So I had heard at that time that there was an opportunity for people like myself to go work as an on-the-job trained respiratory therapist, somebody who was interested in the profession yet knew nothing about it, essentially could go and work at a hospital and they would train you. And this was right during the cusp of the profession when we were starting to break through and become more education oriented. So I learned on the job at the old St. Joseph Hospital with the promise that I would attend the first program that was opening up here at Metro Community College in 1979. So started as an on-the-job trained respiratory therapist, worked there for about 8 months, and then enrolled into the first Metro program. And completed it and continued my career at St. Joseph Hospital. And as I like to say it, I worked my way down to management. I worked my way into a position where I got very far removed from patient care, and as most respiratory therapists will say, that the whole reason, the whole intent for getting into a profession like this is so that you do work with patients. And I lost that in management, so a position opened up to teach 16 years ago, and I applied and got the position, and now I have the unique opportunity to both work with patients still at the bedside with my students and show them what I think is the proper way to take care of patients. And also I'm able to do what I found is I guess a gift that I've been blessed with, and that is to share what I know with the students in the classroom and lab. My mentors in life, I guess, start with my parents. My mom was a nurse, so I remember vividly the stories that she would share with us coming home from her job as a nurse in the OB department at the hospital in Columbus. My dad was a blue-collar worker and was a real hard-working guy, and so the blend of those two traits, I guess, kind of steered me in the direction of healthcare. My dad was laid off work for about 2 years in high school. That left an imprint on me. I guess that maybe subconsciously I looked for a position, looked for a job that was secure and guaranteed, and people are going to get sick and people will go to hospitals. So I felt that in the back of my mind maybe that it was a secure position to get into an allied healthcare profession. And my mother is an angel on earth, and the compassion, the empathy, the sweetness that she has as a person, I guess, left again a mark on me that you want to help people, and that kind of again steered me towards a career where I would help people. In education, I guess I can think back to my high school biology teacher, Vern Younger, who taught me about Krebs cycle when I didn't know the difference between Krebs cycle and a bicycle. And he was very passionate about his profession. And I don't know if it was the passion that he showed in the profession or the subject matter, because I've always liked the health sciences. And but he sticks out in my mind as somebody who definitely as a teacher left an imprint. And oddly enough, I remember when I had to have been in the first or second grade, my mother again, one day she looked at me and said, "You'll make a good teacher, you have patience." And I think at that time I didn't even know what the word patience meant, but she evidently saw something in me that maybe made her think that I would be a good teacher. In this profession, we have the unique ability to go out to the clinical sites and teach our students. And when we do that, we're exposed to maybe seeing some of our graduates who have come through the program and who are very successful in their positions now at those clinical sites. So it's marvelous to go out and see those graduates that we know that we've touched. We know that we've had a hand in molding and maybe mentoring, and see them successful. And I think by far that's the most gratitude that I get, outside of the fact that in the moment when you're teaching at the bedside with the students and you see them and they're able to put it all together where the rubber meets the road, and that is at the patient bedside, that too is a definite feeling of accomplishment. As the respiratory therapy profession evolves, we've come from the iron lung in the 60s all the way to where we're at today, where everything is microcomputer, processor, mechanical ventilation driven respiratory care. The students coming to clinical environments with their handheld devices and the use of those devices in the clinical arena. All of that has changed how we teach the student, primarily in the clinical environment. I guess from the standpoint of being very conscientious about HIPAA and privacy, we've had to maybe work delicately around that situation, but definitely technology has advanced, and as I tell my students, as much as technology continues to advance and will advance in the future, we can't forget that we're there to provide patient care. And very oftentimes when we're confronted with a very sick patient who's on that technology that we're learning, we forget that we're there also to have and to share that empathetic, that compassionate side of us as well. So again, another thing that I like to impart with my students is that it's just as important to hold the patient's hand sometimes as it is to know the equipment that you're working with. The one thing that I'd like for my students to take away from their interaction with me in the classroom, in the laboratory, and especially in the clinical setting is that, again, as we advance technology, not to forget that there's a patient on the end of that breathing device, not to forget that there is the word care in healthcare, in respiratory care, and that we're there, number one, to serve our patients. And a lot of times that means nothing more than just listening to them, nothing more than just being there for them when they're at, quite frankly, at their worst of times. So we can provide that to our patients without any cost whatsoever. And a lot of times we're so busy and we're so focused on other things that we oftentimes forget that that patient is there many times to look to us for that very basic emotional support. I guess what I want my students to remember most about me is, and again I've touched on that, is that I was able to share with them that through my experiences, and my experiences range from being an on-the-job trained respiratory therapist all the way through to teaching what I know and love. And in the middle there, I need to, I guess, add that I at one time was a patient myself on the end of life support. I have asthma, and that again kind of got me into the profession, or at least interested in the profession, my asthma. And I had an asthmatic episode that was so severe that I ended up on life support. And so I remember and I vividly recall all the events that occurred while I was a patient on the other end, on the receiving end of respiratory care. And so I can relate, I guess, to the students how it feels to be poked and prodded and suctioned. And so that, again, affords another firsthand witness account to what we are supposed to provide for our patients, and that's quality patient care. I guess my greatest challenge is imparting to the student that there is a balance between managing the technology involved with the profession, with, again, the art of providing quality patient care, and remembering that oftentimes that the technology, because it's so in your face at the bedside, they're robotics that now perform major surgeries on patients, and how much more technologically advanced can you get than that? But still, we have to remember, we must remember that we have to show compassion and empathy when we're providing that patient care. I'm Tim Kelly. I'm the Director of Clinical Education for the Respiratory Therapy Program at Metro Community College.